It makes sense to fantasize about a male-led utopia where all men are millionaires and all the women want all the men. But is this a practical idea in reality? It makes sense to want to try to set up a society where all men never feel the pain of rejection. The human body feels the pain of rejection in the same way it feels physical pain. So it makes sense to want a world where men never get rejected. But is that possible in reality? So let's talk about how the myth that women only care about money is harming men. Let's discuss 6 reasons why the belief that all men should just become millionaires so they can get any woman they want is harming the majority of men and keeping them from living a beautiful and happy life. Number 1, the message to men is work super hard, don't take any breaks, hit the gym, become a millionaire, so that when you're 40, you can get young women. Do you mean young men should overwork themselves so that when they're 40 and a millionaire, they can get the young women they could have gotten when they were young and broke?
First question is, how many 22-year-old guys do you think want to get married right now? Because I think in the general
Why
sense,
would you be
they
with a
want to get married.
22-year-old?
You don't want a 22-year-old.
Well, because I'm 22 years old,
You
so
want an
when I
older
say
guy.
I'm ready to get married at 30, I think most men my age are going to be ready to get married at 30, right?
Yeah, but what I'm saying is that you don't want a guy that's 22.
Notice how this young woman said she wants a man in her age group, and they told her she shouldn't.
So let's say you meet this guy that's
Exactly,
30.
I want a guy that's at 30 when I'm 30, so when I'm ready to get married, most men will be ready to get married.
Number 2, there's this lie out there that says that rich men that mistreat women have more options than men with less money that treat women right. Nope. Rich men that mistreat women have more options of one option, and that's women whose top priority is appearance and manufactured beauty. Not that there's anything wrong with a woman wanting to take care of herself, but these manufactured women tend to have low self-esteem and do not love the man at all, because what she loves is not him, but how the things he buys her makes her look to other women. This type of woman also tends to be emotionally unavailable. And yes, women can also be emotionally unavailable, which means she struggles to bond and attach emotionally to a partner, even if he loves her. People who are emotionally unavailable are more prone to cheat because they don't chase love, they chase thrills.
She's a psychologist. She actually gives people advice on relationships and trauma. Because I've seen many cases, or I've heard, oh, you know, so-and-so's partner cheats and stuff like that. But it's like, for me, in some cases, it's kind of like an open marriage, no? Or is
Well,
it?
I always say that high-value men are more likely to be cheated on back. They just don't realise it.
Really?
Absolutely. I always say rich men are the most likely to be cheated on, especially in Dubai.
Why?
Because the women they choose.
100%.
Number 3, the get your money up and just become a millionaire ideology will end up harming more men than helping them. Why? Let's go to the book How the Mind Works by Steven Pinker. He is a psychologist who researches social relations. He states, when one male has much more to invest than others, females may be better off sharing him than each having her own mate, because a fraction of a big resource may be better than the entirety of a small one. And he goes on to say that when male contributions are more equal, the undivided attention of one becomes valuable, and the species settles on monogamy. And here's where it gets real. He also states that powerful men could brainwash the other men to enjoy celibacy, leaving the women for them. Is there a possibility that that's what's happening now? For example, we have men who made it to the top and made their millions, and then now they're looking down on men with less money and saying, this is why all the women want me and not you, and you're better off not dating them or courting them at all because you can't compete with me. Number 4, some men say, I shouldn't have to listen to women about what they want, need, or desire, and they better let me lead. Do you all not see the total mindfuck in this? That's like a politician running for office saying, I don't care what you want, need, or desire, but vote for me anyway. True alphas will always want to know what the women want. Why? Let's check out the book The Patriarchs for a possible reason. But before we do that, remember, the concept of being able to divide human males into alphas and betas does not exist. Why? Because humans live a much more complex existence than other mammals. Our lives have many different parts. For example, the same man can be the alpha or the leader in his friend group, but be the beta or the follower at work. Humans fluctuate back and forth between playing both roles depending on the group they're around at any particular time. That being said, when people are talking about alphas and betas, it's the research that's done in primates they are citing. As primatologist Franz de Waal explains, when animal researchers talk about male dominance, they're almost always referring to males trying to assert dominance over each other, not over females. Even in a chimp society where males dominate, you have female leaders. Yes, it makes sense for men to want to dominate both men and women in the workforce because they're competing for resources with both men and women. But a husband and wife are a team. They are not in competition with each other for resources. The resources that they both bring in go to the family as a whole. Primatologist Franz de Waal goes on to say that sexual coercion of females does happen, but how violently and to what degree varies enormously between species. And he further explains that between males, size and aggression don't necessarily give them the deciding edge. The alpha wins not always by beating others into submission, but by building networks of strategic allies. Primates don't like to be ruled by bullies or treated unfairly. And might I say that humans don't like to be ruled by bullies or treated unfairly either, and that includes women. Some of the key traits linked to dominance are kindness, sociability, and cooperation. Even the physically smallest chimpanzee can end up being the alpha if he shows an ability to win trust and loyalty. So, the key traits linked to dominance are kindness, sociability, cooperation, and the ability to win trust and loyalty. But we still have some men saying, I shouldn't have to listen to women about what they want, need, or desire, and they better let me lead. Number 5. Why the women's liberation movement is one of the best things that ever happened to most men. Because it gave women the freedom to truly fall in love with a man she desired, instead of choosing mostly based on his ability to provide, because she was now more able to provide for herself. Let's go back to the book for some more information. The domesticated housewife had from the beginning only ever been an aspiration for the wealthiest. Until slavery ended, it was the labor of enslaved men, women, and children that afforded rich white women the luxury to avoid work at all. Small surprise that by the middle of the 20th century, it had become a middle-class status symbol. If a man earned enough for his wife to stay at home, he was judged to be doing well for himself, and employers assumed that when a woman got married, she would give up work. But if she gave up work, that would mean less resources, not only for the wife, but also for the husband and their children. If she continued to work, that would mean more resources for everyone. And number 6, do you have to be rich to attract a beautiful girlfriend or a beautiful wife? Absolutely not. Some of the most beautiful girls are poor or middle class, because there is zero correlation between natural beauty and the socioeconomic class you are born into. And most people date or marry within the socioeconomic class they were born into. So the question is, are you looking for natural beauty or manufactured beauty? There's nothing wrong with having either preference, to each their own. But what attracts most naturally beautiful women is not the same thing as what attracts manufactured beauty. Why? Because these two different types of women tend to have different values. Not always, but they usually have different values. Now I'll leave you with this question. Which life path do you prefer? Life path number 1. The I'll bang hot women when I'm old strategy. Step 1. Stay away from women as much as possible in your 20s and 30s. Step 2. Become a billionaire when you're 40. Step 3, take testosterone injections to try and stay as physically attractive as younger men. Step 4, find a beautiful 23-year-old and marry her. Step 5, pray and hope that you can figure out how not to bore her and hope young, attractive men aren't attracted to her. And step 5, become an old dad. Life path number 2, build with a beautiful woman with a similar life vision. Step 1, meet a beautiful girl in college or in your neighborhood who has goals similar to yours. Step 2, court her. Step 3, create your life vision together. Step 4, make a plan for what responsibilities each of you will take on when you decide to have kids. Step 5, get married between the age of 25 and 30. Step 6, have kids while you're still young enough to be physically active with them without getting injured.
First question is, how many 22-year-old guys do you think want to get married right now? Because I think in the general
Why would you
census,
be
they
with a
want to get married.
22-year-old?
Yeah, you don't want a 22-year-old.
Well, because I'm 22 years old,
You
so
want an
when I
older
say
guy.
I'm ready to get married at 30, I think most men my age are going to be ready to get married at 30, right?
Fun story. I know this beautiful girl who was dating 2 men at the same time. Man number 1 was pretty well off, but she had trouble feeling chemistry with him. And man number 2 had almost nowhere near as much money as man number 1. But she had a lot of fun with him. She felt deep chemistry with him. So she was having a hard time choosing between man number 1 and man number 2 because society says man number 1 would have been the smart choice. And I told her she had no choice but to choose one or the other, because there was no way she was going to be able to merge them together like the Mighty Morphin Power Rangers and create the perfect man. I think what's causing all of the pain and hurt out there is that there is a group of men trying to bend reality to their will and set up a perfect system where men get everything they want without having to sacrifice anything. And there's also a group of independent women trying to do the same, bend reality to their will and try and make the men heal. Like Jordan Peterson said, show me a man who tries to bend reality to his will and I'll show you a crazy person. We do not have the power to bend reality to our will. Luckily enough, though, the group of men who are trying to do this and the group of women who are trying to do this are in the minority. The problem is that they are so loud that both men and women begin to think that these people with these toxic mentalities are the majority. But remember what happened the last time men thought that the subjugation of women was the answer. Subjugated people will always rebel. Feminism is not why families broke apart. Families broke apart because men tried to keep women in a subjugated position and gave women no choice but to make sure that they didn't need men, and men lost their purpose. Are you all sure that the quote-unquote women need to be subjugated belief is what you all want to pass down onto young men? Women do not need men, but they absolutely do want men. A woman wanting you will always be more powerful than a woman needing you. Why? Because her wanting you and therefore choosing you is an autonomous decision, and autonomy is a human need. Having control over your own life is a human need. Forcing her to need you is entrapment. And what do trapped animals do? They try to escape. So you all can keep that Stockholm syndrome, you're trapped, so since you can't leave me, you'll have no choice but to love me type of relationship. Women keep telling you over and over that they don't want it. Thank you for watching. I am grateful for you. My name is Melissa Rochelle, and I'm a holistic wellness and relationship coach. Please remember to like, subscribe, and most importantly of all, share this information with everyone you know, so that we can do everything we can to break the generational cycles of broken homes, burnt out single moms, and fatherless children.